apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and he finally did it. Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run of the year last night, breaking an American League record, passing Roger Maris, who broke the record in 1961. He's still 11 home runs behind the all-time record of Barry Bonds, but many fans, baseball fans, think that Aaron Judge's record is the record after he hit that home run last night. And it was just a great moment for Judge. Such a relief to finally get it over with. And it was an unbelievable season. It was just a great season for Aaron Judge. He should obviously be unanimous to the MVP. He's been absolutely phenomenal this year. He still even has a shot at the Triple Crown. He's 4 points behind Luis Arraez to get the Triple Crown. So he still has a shot to get the Triple Crown. But just an amazing year for Aaron Judge. And Justin, what were your thoughts on what you saw last night?
Yeah, finally he was able to get it, because it looked like especially in that first game, he kind of started to press a little bit, I thought, with kind of time winding down here. But yeah, he's to be this locked in for 161 games is impressive, and it's still bad like 311, because I know when Stan hit 59 a couple years ago, his average was like 280. So for Judge to still be up around 311. Just to be so locked in, he's had such an impressive year, and I don't know where the Yankees would be without him right now, because we know there's been a lot of inconsistencies with that lineup this year, but yeah, it's been an unbelievable, incredible season to watch, and he's definitely the unanimous MVP. Again, Ohtani should get his own award. It's just because it's not even fair for what he's doing, but yeah, for MVP, he should be the unanimous guy.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the biggest question we're going to ask is this the greatest season we've ever seen in our lifetimes in baseball? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Barry Bonds in 2001. 73 home runs. He hit 328. I'm going to take his season in 2001, but Judge is right there. Judge is right there with one of the best seasons I've ever seen. But I'm still going to go with Bonds in 01, but Judge is right there with one of the best seasons I've ever seen.
For me, because I don't, it was 3 at that time when Bonds did that and McGuire. So when they're going on that chase. So for me, it has to be that it's Aaron Judge, just because I don't, obviously don't remember that. So yeah, for me, I think Judge is, for me, the numbers that he's put up to be this locked in, especially nowadays where guys are getting so many days off. I know he started like 55 in a row, but in a new kind of era where guys are, Triple Crown, Texas Crown. Triple Crown would be nice. However, the American League home run king is still more relevant.
Yeah, I think they're both really important because we remember back in 2012 when Miguel Cabrera won the Triple Crown, the last guy to win the Triple Crown was Ted Williams. So I think they both have a ton of importance. I mean, yeah, the American League home run king is great, but I think the Triple Crown is great as well.
Yeah, it is. It's only a handful of times that anybody's ever won it. Yeah, because it just shows how incredible of a season you've had, the average-wise, home run-wise, RBIs. Both are such hard records to break. I know Maris, was 61 years ago. That record, the American League record's been standing. So that's been a while. Yeah, with Ted Williams won it. Miguel Cabrera was what, like 40 years ago. Like that, that was a long time ago too. So yeah, it's tough, but both records, they've lasted for a while, and you can see why, because it's tough to break, to get a Triple Crown, or even to just, again, to hit 60 home runs, to be that locked in is incredible.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just an incredible year for Aaron Judge. And nothing to take away from Judge, even though I say that Bonds' season in 01 was better because he had 73 home runs, 137 RBIs. Judge has 62 home runs, 131 RBIs, and Bonds hit for a little bit of a higher average. Still, I mean, it's an incredible year for Aaron Judge. And the one thing you can say about both those guys in both those seasons, no pitchers wanted to pitch to them.
No, give credit to Rangers. The Rangers won right after him. Baltimore walked them a bunch last week.
I was so upset at Baltimore for doing that.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I know you don't want to be the guy that give it up, but come on, at least attack them. Like, come on. I thought it was ridiculous.
And two of those games didn't even matter to the Orioles. Two of those games didn't matter at all to the Orioles.
No, I thought it was a little bit ridiculous. I know a couple young guys, maybe the pressure got to him, but yeah, it was ridiculous that, they didn't even try to go after him. But yeah, it was such an incredible record for him. Bond definitely had an impressive season back in 01. But yeah, Judge to do it this way. At this point he couldn't do it at home, but yeah, at least he got it over with, and at least he got it. And maybe today he gets the day off now for it.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he is. I think he's getting the day off. He started 55 consecutive games. I think he's getting the day off. I don't think they're really going to care about the Triple Crown. I think they're going to give him the day off.
Yeah, because I think Arise is still at 315. He's at 311. It's going to be pretty tough to pass Arise today. He's going to have to go, 4 for 5. Arise is probably going to have to go, 0 for 5. Something like that. So, yeah, it could be pretty tough. So, it thinks he's going to land just short of it. But, yeah, it's still unbelievable year. And, yeah, he deserves a day off.
Now, here's the big question. And everybody's been debating it. We know Judge the American League home run king. As Michael Kay said yesterday, case closed. But is he the true home run king? Seeing the way Sosa and McGuire and Bonds did it, all taking steroids, is he the true home run king? I'm going to say no, and here's my reason why. For me, with the steroids, if it happened pre-2005, I give the guys credit for the numbers. I do, because I don't blame it as much on the guys. I blame it on Bud Selig. As I said 2 weeks ago, Bud Selig turned looked the other way. Looked the other way because the sport was getting great ratings and it was making money, and he looked the other way. That's why I still consider Barry Bonds at hitting 73 home runs as the true home run king.
I go Judge. I think the steroids give you that competitive edge that, kind of put you over the top. Again, he had some impressive seasons, no doubt. But I just think taking the steroids, you're cheating the game. I know for baseball it was a great thing, and it saved baseball there for a while. But if he's like the home run king, wouldn't he be in the Hall of Fame? I know it's the writers don't want him in because of steroids. But
it's kind of absurd the way the writers are doing. The BBWA is doing the Hall of Fame. It's kind of absurd.
Yeah, like your home run champ should be in the Hall of Fame, and he's not. I don't know. I just think with the steroids and all that, I think gives you a competitive edge. I know it wasn't totally their fault, but hey, it did break the rules though.
I get that they did, But at the time, nobody was getting. It wasn't a rule in baseball at the time. It was just people. You weren't. It wasn't illegal at the time. So if Bonds broke it in 2006, yes, I would say Judge is the true home run king. But where Bonds broke the record, that's why I say that he's the true home run king.
Yeah, I could see it. You still just break the record. He had such an impressive season. Again, I know he got a potential walk over like 100 times. Like it's so impressive all the numbers he put up. I just still think that it was wrong, even if it was illegal or not at that time. It was still wrong. You still knew it was wrong to take the steroids. You're kind of cheating the game a bit. And I feel like I don't know if Bonds did, but I know like McGuire after he passed Maris back in '98. He apologized to the Maris family after he kind of got caught cheating after he got tested positive for steroids. He apologized to that family. So I just feel like the true one without kind of taking the steroids, I kind of feel like, to me, again, maybe part of it too, because I didn't really get to experience the Bonds one too. Maybe that's why part of my reason is I do think Judge is home run king as well.
Yeah. I mean, I could see where you see where the McGuire apologized to the Maris family and everything. But I just, as I've said, I don't blame it as much on Sosa, McGuire, and Bonds as I blame it on Bud Selig. Bud Selig is the guy who I blame that whole entire thing on for allowing it to happen. And as I've said, that's why Bonds is the home run king. But that is nothing to take away from Aaron Judge. A miraculous season for him. And as a Yankee fan, it was so awesome to watch this season, watch Aaron Judge this season. It just was amazing.
Yeah, it's something that, who knows, maybe a while before we maybe hit 60 home runs again. Who knows in this day and age? But yeah, it's a career year. There's no way he's 30. There's no way I don't think he repeats hitting at 60 home runs again. Like, it's just such a special year. As I said, to be this locked in all year is impressive. He didn't really go through too many cold streaks this year. He just had such a phenomenal year, and I see. You
got Hector's comment. Sosa McGuire broke the Maris' record multiple times because of series. So I respectfully disagree with you, Steve. Yeah, hey, we could disagree. Absolutely. I definitely respect your opinion and Hector's opinion there. It's just, in my opinion, I just blame it on Selig for allowing it to happen. I just blame Selig for allowing it to happen. But I definitely respect your opinion, Hector's opinion on the issue.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from as well. But where's the integrity? If we blame the commissioner, the players should still take responsibility. Yeah,
I get that. I definitely get that. I definitely get the players definitely should still take responsibility. I definitely get that. Yeah,
because you're still I know at the time, but you still know you're kind of breaking the rules here. And I know, and I see where you're coming from too. I wonder, like, if my opinion would be different if I was around back then and I kind of really did see it, and I just see how impressive it was. Maybe my opinion would be changed. But yeah, I just feel like moral wise, I can't, like, because he broke the integrity of the game. He did not, he got a competitive advantage that, for all we know, Judge isn't taking any steroids, and he, Bonds, had a competitive advantage over, the Marises of the world, Gehrig, everybody else kind of behind him. And then, what Judge did.
Yeah. So I mean, we both have different opinions. I mean, you think it should be Judge, I think it should be Bonds, but I definitely respect your opinion, thinking that it should be that Judge should be the home run king. Because as Hector said, where's the integrity? And those players, they did, even though it was a lot at the time, they did get a competitive advantage when they hit those home runs. So you could definitely see both viewpoints there.
Yeah, absolutely. I do see where you're coming from. And again, it's going to be a debate that's going to happen for a while, who kind of, who's kind of the home run champ and all that. Cause I don't think anybody's ever going to pass 73. I don't think it's going to be something. So it'll be something, that has been a big topic the last couple of weeks, and Judge been on this pace, and it's, going to continue for the next couple of weeks, right? Until the season's over, who's that the home run king?
Absolutely. One thing that there should be no debate about is Aaron Judge. There should be no debate that he should be the MVP. But I even think it should go a step further. I think he should be the unanimous MVP for the season that he's had. I don't even want Ohtani to get a vote for MVP. I think Judge should be the unanimous MVP for the season he has had. 62 home runs, over 131 RBIs. Shohei Ohtani, he's had a great year, but he's been on a bad team. if Aaron Judge is not on the Yankees, there's a very good chance they don't win the AL East.
No, definitely not. With Toronto, I think they'd probably fall behind Toronto. They'd probably be right there with the Rays. So yeah, I said at the top, I think Ohtani should just have his own award. What he's doing is so impressive. Something we, of course, haven't seen since Babe Ruth did it back in 100 years ago. But yeah, what Judge is having, an Ohtani team, yeah, so bad now. It's not all his fault, but him and Trout are about it on the team. But yeah, this Judge has to win this award. There's still definitely going to be votes to Ohtani, but yeah, I think Judge should be the unanimous winner. Just the season he's had, we've talked about it. It was just such an incredible year. Ohtani's a great player. Not to take away from him, but it's something, just such a rare season from Judge and just being such a big impact to the team. Yeah, he should be the unanimous guy this year.
Absolutely. So we'll move on to the playoffs. Before we talk about the matchups, we'll take it from a Yankees point of view and the opponent they would rather face on Tuesday night in the division series. And if you're the Yankees, what team would you rather play, the Rays or the Guardians? Because they're going to play the winner of that series that starts tomorrow and starts Friday in Cleveland. So for me, I would say the Guardians. I'd say the Guardians because we saw what the Rays did to the Yankees 2 years ago. The Rays they always seem to give the Yankees trouble. I'm not sure what their record was against them this year, but I know the Yankees won more. They had a winning record, but still the Rays. Especially in the second half of the year, I think that they definitely won a couple series against the Yankees. So I know the Rays struggle offensively. I think their offense is an issue, but their pitching is outstanding, and they got a good bullpen. The same thing with the Guardians. But based on experience, and I've seen the Rays beat the Yankees in the playoffs. We saw it 2 years ago. I'd rather see the Yankees play the Guardians than the Rays.
Yeah, for me, I think it definitely close. But yeah, I think I'd rather probably see the Guardians because I think that Rays team, we know how they are. They're not really scared of New York. I know their lineup's been so bad this year. I know they've been really banged up on all that, but you just got Glasnow back, and he looked really good Monday night. Yeah, agree with Hector there.
Good one. Let's wrap this off with the World Series wing. I don't think it's a long shot. I think they got it. I think they pretty much outside of the Braves, Dodgers, and Astros. I think they could win the World Series. But yeah, let's definitely cap us off with the World Series. I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. If Severino could look like he did the other night, if you get that, Nestor and Cole, feel a lot better. If you could have at least those 3 horses pitch well in October, I do feel a little bit better. But yeah, I probably right there with you. I think they're the 4th. I think them and the Mets are a toss-up, I think, for me. But yeah, they should hopefully be right there. Hopefully they could give you some room for the money. But yeah, going back to the Rays.
Yeah, go ahead.
I probably still see the Rays the Guardians, because I think it's such an inexperienced team. They've had a lot of guys that kind of came up, played well, this year, like Axel Gonzalez, Stephen Kwan. But yeah, that Rays team just that, with Glass now coming back, McClanahan, I think it could, and Corey Kluber, who's pitched pretty well against the Yankees in his career, I think it could be a tough matchup. And the Yankees feel like they never play well down at Tropicana Field either. And that's just such a weird stadium anyways. But I'd probably rather face the Guardians than the Rays.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. And we'll talk about that series right now, the Guardians and the Rays. They open up Friday in Cleveland. I think this is a really competitive series. I think this is a really, really close competitive series. I think both teams got good pitching. I think both teams got a good bullpen. I would probably take the Guardians bullpen over the Rays bullpen because they got a true closer. But I think the difference is going to be experience. I think the Rays have a little bit more experience than the Guardians. And the starting pitching for the Guardians is good, but we saw Shane Bieber in the postseason 2 years ago against the Yankees. He was absolutely terrible. So I'm going to take the team with more experience. I got the Rays winning this series I'm going to have it go all 3 games. I think the Rays win it in 3 games. But Justin, the question is going to be is can Ramirez and the Indians rotation carry them to the Bronx Tuesday night?
It's going to be very tough. Ramirez had an unbelievable year. He's one of the most underrated players, I think, in the sport of baseball. That contract that he signed with Cleveland, it's a very team-friendly deal. It's great to see him stick around in Cleveland. But yeah, you mentioned with Bieber, he's had his struggles in the postseason. Tristan McKenzie, we really haven't seen pitch in the postseason. He's had a pretty good year as well. Cal Cottrell as well. He's had a nice year as well. But another guy, I just think the inexperience, Manuel Clase, James, Kornacki, their eighth inning, their setup guys pitch really well. But the Guardians put the ball in play. They have the least amount of strikeouts in the league by Houston's in second to last, and the Guardians have struck out 60 less times than the Astros have. They put the ball in play. And I think you are right, Hector, about his comment. The Yankees, I think, are 5-1 against Cleveland. I think like the one game they lost was like a split in a doubleheader. I think.
Yeah, I think it was like a 2-0 game. Yeah, because they swept them in that series. Well, remember that series earlier in the year where the fans were throwing all that stuff on the field at Miles Straw. But yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees definitely match up better with the Guardians because the Rays they won 2 series against the Yankees in the second half. They won a series in the Bronx in August, and then 11-8 versus the Rays. See. This is definitely why I would definitely say the Yankees would rather want to play the Guardians.
Yeah, and even the postseason, the Yankees have had better success against Cleveland the last handful of years. I think the last time Cleveland beat in the postseason was 07?
07 with the bugs with Jabba.
Yeah, Jabba.
Me and Hector remember that one with the bugs with Jabba Chamberlain. Yeah,
I do remember that one a little bit. I do remember that series a little bit. I know that was a tough one. But yeah, I think the Rays 11-8 is better than what it has been the last couple of years. But yeah, I think, in that series, Rays, Guardians, I do think the Rays find a way to get two out of 3 there in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think the Rays. I think it's going to be the Rays. I think it's going to be the Rays Tuesday night in the Bronx facing the Yankees. But we'll go to the other American League series, and that is the Mariners and the Blue Jays. And I think this is going to be a pretty good competitive series too. I mean, the Mariners, their strength is their starting rotation. Obviously, they went out and got Luis Castillo. That was a big pickup for that team. They obviously got Robbie Ray too in that rotation. And Gilbert's pretty good too. So the Mariners, they got a good rotation. And then their lineup, this is the first time their lineup's really been healthy all year because they got Haniger's back. Julio Rodriguez is back. They got Suarez and France are pretty good hitters. So their lineup I think it's going to be. It wasn't great during the regular season, but I think this is the first time the lineup is healthy all year long. They have a pretty good bullpen too. And for the Blue Jays have probably one of the deepest lineups in the game. They got 9 guys with 50 RBIs or more. We obviously led by Vlad Guerrero, 2 ex-major leaguers' sons, Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. So they got a really good lineup. I mean, pretty good pitching too with Gosman, with Manoah, and with Stripling, and their bullpen is pretty good. I mean, the thing is that really the bridge to get to Jordan Romano is a little bit of a challenge, but I am going to take the Blue Jays in this series because of their lineup. I just think their lineup is too deep. Their pitching, their bullpen is good enough. I got the Blue Jays winning this series in 3 games. But Justin, can Luis Castillo and Julio Rodriguez lead the Mariners to their first playoff series win in 21 years?
Yeah, I got Seattle. I think they get 2 out of 3. I know Toronto, that place is a different animal during the playoffs. But I think the staff of Seattle with the 3 stars, with Castillo has been really good. Gilbert, Logan, and Robbie Ray. I think they find a way. I know Gosman left Sunday start. I know he's probably still going to pitch Friday, but they still said it was uncertain at the moment. Barrios has been so bad. I know Alex Manoah has been very good. Stripling's pitched well. Be interesting kind of who's that game 3 starter because I think it is going to get there. But I think Seattle, they finally break in the postseason this year. I think they find a way to get out of Toronto with a series victory, get a chance to go home and play in front of the home crowd in the DS. I think the year Julio Rodriguez has had, Jesse Winker should be back for the postseason as well. I think, with the year Rodriguez has had coming on, bursting on the scenes, he's going to be a superstar in this league for a long time. And it was smart for the Mariners to lock him up for the next 14 years. I think Seattle finds a way, and I'll take Seattle in that bullpen and that staff to do enough to figure out Toronto, slow them down a bit, and I'll take the Mariners to get the series win.
Wow, so you got the AL West teams going at it in the first round, the Mariners and the Astros.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Hopefully, be great to watch the Mariners knock them out, but that'll be a fun series to watch.
Absolutely. Go to the National League with the Padres and the Mets. The Mets had a terrible weekend in Atlanta. Their aces did not pitch like aces in those games in Atlanta. DeGrom wasn't good. Scherzer wasn't good. Neither was Bassett. So they have to. The thing for the Mets is pretty simple. Scherzer and DeGrom have to be better for this team to advance and play the Dodgers. They got to be better. And for the Padres, the biggest thing is Soto and Bell. They got to hit. They got to have someone else outside of Machado hit for the Padres. So Soto and Bell, they have to hit for this team to win this series. I mean, I think both teams have really good pitching. Both teams in the bullpen aren't great, but they have two pretty good closers. Even though Hader has a high ERA, he's still a pretty good closer. And we all know the season Edwin Diaz has had. He's had a great year. But I think it's gonna come down to the Mets having a little bit of a better lineup and a little bit of a better closer. And I think DeGrom and Scherzer are going to show up this week. And that's why I think the Mets win it in 3 games and advance on to the division series, face the Dodgers. But Justin, can Soto and Machado and the Padres pitching staff carry them to the division series?
I don't think they do. I think the Mets figure it out. I think they do take 2 out of 3 in San Diego this week or this weekend. I think for the Mets, DeGrom, I think he's going to probably opt out, it sounds like. So, he needs a big postseason start here to kind of – he wants to make the money here. He's got to have a big postseason start. But, I'm with you. Hader's pitched pretty well this month of September. He hasn't given up a run in almost a month. He's pitched better. But, it's, the bridge guys, who can get the Hader, Musgrove, Yu Darvish, Blake Snell have been all pretty good this year. But, it's that lineup that kind of concerns me. We all know that, that Tatis is out, for a while here. Brandon Drury's had a really good year, but can he kind of continue that in the postseason here? Manny Machado, he's had such an unbelievable year, but can they need Juan Soto here because he's hit pretty well, but I think they've wanted more out of him, and this is why they got him to go out and win a World Series. So this is why you gave up all those guys to get him. So they really need him to get it going here. And he's got to go, he's got to have a big series against Scherzer, DeGrom. And they're going to, they're going to have to get a couple of runs off of him and put some pressure on the Mets because, again, that the Mets get a lead in that at Citi Field this weekend. That place is going to be a zoo. It's going to be tough to come from behind against the Mets this weekend. So, Bell, Soto, if they get some guys on early, they got to knock them in to kind of settle that crowd down.
Oh, absolutely. And Tatis being out is huge because if Tatis is in, I am absolutely picking the Padres in this series. But that's the saving grace for the Mets. They are lucky that they don't have to go up against Fernando Tatis Jr. because last weekend would have been even more devastating if Tatis was playing for the Padres. But that is the big break for the Mets. But Soto's got to step up, and if he does it, the Padres will be one and done.
Yeah, Bob Millen's a pretty good manager. He hasn't been able to get over the top yet. Be nice to see him, but I think this is going to be a tough one. They're going to need Soto and Bell. Ian Machado run a score position. They got to take advantage, and I think the Mets are going to be too tough. I think you're going to get the best effort this weekend from Scherzer and DeGrom. So I think it's going to be a tough out. Now the interesting is Melvin knows Bassett from his time together at the A's, so maybe he kind of maybe in a game 3, with Melvin really knowing Bassett, maybe that's kind of an advantage the Padres could have. But I just think it's going to be tough to beat DeGrom and Scherzer this weekend.
Last series, the Phillies and the Cardinals. And I think the Phillies, their starting pitching is close to as good as not as good as the Cardinals, but it's still pretty good. The lineup, I think, is as good or better than the Cardinals. The problem, though, is the Phillies bullpen. The Phillies bullpen is not good enough, and I think the Cardinals are going to take advantage of that and give the Cardinals credit at the trade deadline. Getting Quintana and getting Jordan. I mean, they could thank Cashman for getting Jordan Montgomery. Getting Quintana and Montgomery has really, really improved this team, especially in the rotation. Put them with Wainwright and Mikolas in the rotation, and they obviously have 2 great hitters with Arenado and Goldschmidt. And I think the Cardinals win this. I think they sweep them. I think the Cardinals win this in 2 games. I think the Cardinals get to Atlanta to play the Braves, and I think they win this in 2 games.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think the Cardinals figure out a way to get this thing done in 2 games. I think, the Phillies, I think, they kind of struggled down the stretch too here. They got swept by Chicago. I know they found a way this weekend to get it done against Washington, and then they won Monday night against the Astros. But I just think it's too tough. Harper's had a really good year, when he's been healthy. But I just think Arenado, Goldschmidt, those 2 have had an unbelievable year. Pujols has 24 home runs to 68 RBIs. He's had a heck of a second half. I think Wainwright, Molina, Pujols, one last go around for those 3, and I think they find a way to get out of the wild card round. I think they get at least to Atlanta. It's going to be a tough one, but I think that Cardinals team could be a feisty one with those 3 on the verge of retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to see the Cardinals make a run, especially with especially with Pujols and Molina retiring. It would definitely be great to see the Cardinals make a deep run in the postseason. But we got a huge game at SoFi Stadium in Week 5. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
All righty, Week 5 is upon us and in the NFL, and we got a big game at SoFi Stadium this week as the 3-1 Cowboys face the 2-2 Rams. And for this game, I think it's going to be a close competitive game. I mean, Dallas' defense has played really well. The Rams' offense has struggled. I've heard there are rumors that that Dak might come back, but I don't think those rumors are true. I think that I'm pretty sure that Cooper Rush is going to be the starter this week against the Rams. And I think this is a close competitive game. I think that the Rams do have some success running the ball. That's why I think they move the ball better than they did against the 49ers. I think they do force a turnover too from Cooper Rush. I do think Cooper Rush moves the ball a little bit, but in the end, I'm going to take the team with the better quarterback and the better coach. And in a close competitive game, I got the Rams beating the Cowboys 23-20. But Justin, can the Cowboys defense carry them to their 4th consecutive victory?
I think they definitely could. I got the Rams will win this one, tight one, 24-23. Again, the Rams gave up 7 sacks the other day to the Niners on Monday night. I could see Micah Parsons have 2 or 3. Now you're going up against another elite pass rusher and Micah Parsons. He could have a huge day this week. Because that Rams team, Cooper Kupp has been unbelievable. That's Stafford's favorite target. They really haven't gone to Allen Robinson all year. Do you try to double? I think if you try to double Cooper Kupp, make him go to somebody else. I think could be a huge thing in this game.
Or you could put Diggs on Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, you could. Diggs. The only thing is sometimes it just the big play.
He's had a really good. Aggressive. Yeah, he's had a better year this year. I know. Like people thought he had a great year last year, but he had a good year last year. He's having a great year this year. He's not getting the picks, but he shut down Terry McLaurin last week.
Yeah, he did have a really good week last week. I still a little bit afraid of him being a little bit too aggressive in coverage, but he has looked a little bit better this year. Look, if he could shut him down and his stocks can go way up because he had a ton of interceptions, but he gave up I think like the most yards last year for like a cornerback. But I think the Dallas defense could do it. This Rams offense hasn't looked good. Stafford has not played well. They really haven't got the running game going, so I think Dallas could really steal this game. But I think at some point the Rams get over this funk, and I think they figure it out. And I think it potentially could be this week in Dallas. I think this is a big game for them. Dallas has been playing well, but I'm still going to take the Rams at home to win by a point.
Yeah. But here's the key: if the Rams don't get the running game going, this could be a long day for their offense. Because if you get that Cowboys pass rush going, they get pressure with Parsons, with Lawrence, and with Dante Fowler. Dan Quinn, he has a lot of those. He has those pass rushers. They get pressure, and the Rams' offensive line is really struggling. So the biggest key for the Rams is they got to get that run game going with Cam Akers and Dontrell Henderson, and they couldn't do that last week.
No, they couldn't. That was a big thing. They really couldn't move the ball much at all last week, and they really haven't been able to run the ball all year. It's been a struggle for them, and Akers and Henderson are 2 pretty good backs, but they just haven't been able to get going. And I know losing Whitworth was a huge thing to retirement. But I fear by now they kind of figured a way out without him. But like you can see how big and how important he was on that team because they just, that whole offensive line just looks like a mess right now. It's very surprising. I know he was such a big loss, but I'm surprised they still haven't really figured it out yet without him. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If Stafford has to drop back all day to throw the football, the Rams could be in some trouble.
Oh, absolutely. And for the Cowboys, Jerry, just say Cooper Rush is playing. Stop talking about Dak going back in. And again, I think the Cowboys are doing the right thing with Dak, not rushing him back. You look at the NFC; they very easily can get a wild card. Looking at their schedule, I mean, they still got they still have all the AFC South teams on their schedule. They still got the Bears. They still got the Lions. They got a very, very favorable schedule. Even if they're 3-3 after the Eagles game, I think the smart thing is not to rush Dak Prescott back.
No, I'm with you. Again, I said it last week. Like Cooper Rush hasn't given you a reason that he can't start for this team right now. He's done everything he's had to do. He's throwing some good balls. The running game's been good under him. Like, the offense has been fine. The offense has played fine. Like he has not given you a reason to take him out and put Dak back in there. So yeah, again, wait till Dak's 100% healthy. I know you want to get him back in there and all that. I know because you're playing the Rams and the Eagles the next couple of weeks, but let Dak heal. Because with the way the NFC is looking, hey, he could get a wild card. Make sure he's 100% healthy. And he's not having some lingering issue because he came back, too early the rest of the year. So yeah, I'm with you. Just let him get to 100% before you put him back under center.
Absolutely. So we got a big AFC North matchup this week Sunday night in Baltimore as Joe Burrow and the Bengals face Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And I think this is going to be an offensive game. I think both quarterbacks are going to go back and forth. I think it could come down to the guy to the quarterback that has the ball in his hands last. But I'm going to take the home team here in Lamar Jackson. I feel like Lamar Jackson is going to have a little bit of a better game than Joe Burrow. I think the Ravens will get some pressure on Joe Burrow and force him to throw a pick or two. And I think Lamar Jackson has another huge game and keeps his great season going. That's why I got the Ravens beating the Bengals 31-27. But Justin, can Joe Burrow get his third straight win over the Ravens?
I don't think so. I got the Ravens this week 28-21. The Ravens are 2-2 and they've trailed for 14 seconds this whole year. Like
that's crazy. That's crazy. No, but they did. They
trailed against the Patriots. For a little bit more. Yeah,
they did trail against the Patriots. I think they were down 20-14. I think they were down 20, they were down. I think like 10-7 and 20-14 to the Patriots. So they did trail against the Patriots.
Yeah, a little bit.
So they've trailed in 3 of the 4 games, but they barely trailed in 2 of the games they lost.
Yeah, they really have not. Trailed much at all. Like they really easily could be 4-0. Or I think it's in the 2 losses. It was in the 2 losses they've only trailed by for 14 seconds. Like those 2 games, they trailed for a total of 14 seconds in those 2. So like they could really be 4-0 this year. I think at home, I think it's gonna be a tough task for Burrow and that team. I think they're ready to get some pressure on Joe Burrow this week. Again, if Burrow can get the ball out quickly, again, especially against that secondary that's not great for the Ravens, I could see Joe Burrow putting up some points in this game, but he's got to get the ball out quick. They have to, quick routes and all that. But I just think it'd be too tall of a task. I think this Ravens team, the way they've been playing, I see it very hard for them to go 2-3. They've looked pretty good this year. I think they find a way this week to knock off the Bengals here on Sunday night.
Yeah. I think they finally get a win at home. And last week was so disappointing for them because they had that 17-point lead. I mean, obviously they played a great team and a great quarterback and made a great comeback, but still 2 of those home losses, blowing multiple leads, that is disappointing. Yeah,
it is. It's tough. And that's not usually, a hardball coach team like that. They don't usually like that game against the Dolphins. They don't blow a lead like that. The Bills, they got out such a fast start. They usually don't lose games like that. So, yeah, it's been kind of shocking the way they've lost a couple of these games. And I think like this week, I think they find a way to kind of break that streak there and they get a win.
Yeah, we'll see. But we got a game in London this week as the Giants travel to London to face the Packers. And the big question is, what is the status of Daniel Jones? Right now, he's day-to-day. The Giants do say they expect him to suit up on Sunday. But as a Giants fan, and watching Brian Dable through the first 4 games, I feel like if Daniel Jones isn't 100%, I don't think he's going to put him out there. I don't think he's going to put him out there because I think if you have Daniel Jones 60, 65% and he can't run, the Giants have no chance in the game if they have a quarterback if they have Daniel Jones. If all Daniel Jones could do is drop back and throw the ball, and all they would have to do is put 7 guys, put 7 or 8 guys in the box and stop Saquon Barkley for the Packers. So if he can't run and he's not 100%, I don't want Daniel Jones out there. I don't mind starting Davis Webb in this game. And seeing what we could do there. So I just don't want to play a quarterback that's not 100%. I saw what happened when Joe Judge did that 2 years ago against the Cardinals, and from there on out, it went completely downhill. If Daniel Jones is at 100%, I don't want him playing in this game. And I personally, I think David Webb is going to start this game. And I do think Saquon will get his yards on the ground, but obviously he won't get a ton of yards on the ground. We got a comment from
Mitch.
Get Mitch Trubisky. It wouldn't be a bad backup. It definitely wouldn't be a bad backup getting Mitch Trubisky because we know he's available because the Steelers pretty much have given up on him. But but I think Davis Webb is going to start the game. I think Saquon will get some yards on the ground, but not a ton. And the big thing is for the Giants defense, they've struggled to stop the run. And I think A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are going to have a pretty good game on the ground. I in the second half last week, Aaron Rodgers was starting to get it with the receivers. I think he has another good game this week. And that's why I got the Packers winning this. I got the Packers being the team that goes to 4-1, and I got them beating the Giants 27-13. But Justin, can Saquon and the Giants defense get them to 4-1?
I think they're going to keep this thing competitive. I had Packers 24-20. I just, again, watching the Packers last week against a third-string quarterback from the Patriots, they didn't impress me. Rodgers made some terrific throws there in OT. But I think, Barkley, because even the Packers last week, I didn't think they really, they didn't really do that great of a job, I thought, stopping the run. And again, they knew Hoyer was going to be the starter going in. So I think Barkley can have some success on the ground. And I think if you could shorten this game, because even the Packers, when they had the ball, they kind of even tried to shorten the game, I felt like a little bit too last week. So I feel like, the Giants could really keep this thing close. Barkley's looked like, the prime, Barkley we saw at Penn State in his rookie year with the Giants. Like he's looked great. And I think, he could have enough rushing yards in this game. I think whoever plays quarterback can make a couple of plays in this game for the Giants to keep this thing interesting. And I think Giants do keep this thing close. They don't win. They don't beat Rodgers and the Packers. But I do think this is a one-score game. I do think they keep this pretty competitive. I think I'm with you. I think Dable comes up with a good scheme this week offensively to keep this thing close. I don't think the Giants do keep this close for 60 minutes.
Yeah, you talked about, the Packers having trouble stopping the run. If Daniel Jones was healthy, I think the Giants would have a good chance to win this game if Daniel Jones was healthy because the Packers have had so much trouble against the run. I think if Daniel Jones is healthy, they would have a chance to win this game. I just think that without the quarterback being healthy, and Davis Webb is definitely a pretty big downgrade over Daniel Jones. I just think the offense is going to struggle, and it's going to be tough, especially with it's tough enough with Daniel Jones to keep up with Aaron Rodgers, but it's gonna be brutal if you have Davis Webb or if you have Davis Webb trying to keep up with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very difficult. Davis Webb, because he's another kind of guy that's a dual threat, so he's a pretty good runner as well. But yeah, it's still going to be tough for him to keep up with that Packers offense. And again, think about it too. I just came to mind too with Daniel Jones and that ankle going. 6-hour plane ride cannot help that ankle either. So yeah, that's probably maybe worsens his chances this week as well playing. I just that plane ride can't probably help that ankle out very much either.
Oh, no. And I've said this. I feel like Brian Dable isn't going to make like a mistake and throw Daniel Jones out there when he's like 60%. I think if Daniel Jones isn't close to 100%, he's not going to play because I trust Brian Dable that he's going to do the right thing. And if Jones is 100%, he's just not going to play him. He knows it's a long season. If they lose this one, so be it. So be it. And I think Dable understands a long season. So I just don't feel if Jones isn't. That's why I feel like Davis Webb is going to start because I don't think Tyrod Taylor is going to clear concussion protocol, and I just don't think they're going to put Jones out there at 60%.
Yeah, and and you saw last week too. They went Wildcat there the rest of that game, pretty much. So
Saquon handed it off to Matt Breida.
Yeah, it works still. The Bears still couldn't really stop that. They still look pretty good on that. Yeah, so I think that kind of tells you too. Yeah, if he's not healthy, they'll go to the Wildcat before they put in Daniel Jones out there. So yeah, you'll still be, you lose, you're still 3-2. Like it's not like you still got a chance. And yeah, it's a long season. It's not you might as well just kind of sit him out this week and get him healthy for the rest of October. We talked about last week. It's a brutal month there for the Giants.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the games coming up after the Packers. They got the Ravens at home, and they go to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's definitely an improved team. And then they even go out to Seattle, and even though I still don't think they're that good, that's still a really tough place to play. So yeah, get Daniel Jones healthy. So say you lose the Packer game, you could go 2-1 on that stretch where you're playing the Ravens, Jags, and Seahawks.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen the Ravens could look, I think, Daniel Jones healthy. I think they could beat the Ravens at home. Jacksonville is going to be tough on the road, and with all those play miles, it's going to be tough to go out to Seattle. But yeah, I think the Giants could easily go 2-3 in that 3-game stretch there. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. So yeah, absolutely. I think Daniel Jones ain't healthy this week. Same thing with the Giants or with the Cowboys and Dak. Sit him out, make sure that he's ready to go for the later months here.
Absolutely. Now moving on to your team, and your team had a good effort last week against the Packers, even though they lost. Now the moral victories are over. They got to win this game against the Lions. The Lions defense was absolutely pathetic last week. They have the worst defense in the NFL. Their defense is absolutely horrendous. So in this game, I feel like the Patriots, even though Bailey Zappe's probably going to start, I think they're going to have success on the ground for the third week in a row with Stevenson and Harris. I think they're going to rush for over 100 yards, so they're going to be able to move the ball. And Bill Belichick has had success in his career against Jared Goff. Jared Goff, as we know in that Super Bowl, Jared Goff really, really struggled against Bill Belichick. So Belichick has had Jared Goff's number. So I think it's a close, competitive game. I think the Lions have the ball at the end, but the Patriots make the stop that they need to make. And that's for the first time this year, I am picking the Patriots to win a game. I got them beating the Lions 28-23. But Justin, can Jared Goff hand the Pats their third straight loss?
No, I don't see it this week. I get Patriots 27-23. They're not losing this week in those beautiful 1980 red uniforms. They're
wearing the red. They're wearing the red unis this week.
The greatest, the best uniforms in the NFL. They're finally bringing them back, first time in a decade. So I can't wait to see those.
Only the true Patriot fans know about those unis because they were bad in those. Yeah. They were not good when they wore those unis.
No, they were not. Unfortunately, maybe they'd still be wearing them if they were actually somewhat decent back then. But because I love those with the helmets. But I think the Patriots bounce back this week. I think Goff struggling. Bill, they have so many weapons. I know Swift probably is not going to play, which helps. But Williams had a really strong week on the ground. Yeah, I think Goff makes 2 or 3 interceptions. I think too, because him and Bill and Matt Patricia are just so close too. I think Bill will love to knock off the Lions for him. I think if they have the opportunity, I think he'd love to run it up on him as well. He would. You think he did last year against the Jets?
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. He scored like 54 points against the Jets.
Yeah, they're still throwing in that fourth quarter up 45 points or whatever it was. So I think if he had a chance, I think he'd run it up on him. So I don't think they will this week, but yeah, I think they find a way to get the win at home. The Lions, their offenses look pretty good, but I see the Patriots bouncing back. I think Goff will make some plays, but just not enough to beat the Patriots this week.
Yeah, if the Patriots get the running game going, I think it's already going to all come down to the running game. If they get the running game going against the Lions defense, which they should be in a very good position to win this game because Detroit's defense is bad, and Zappe can have a big game like he did. Zappe could have a good game like he did in the second half last week. I just want to see the Patriots be a little bit more aggressive, though. I think they were a little bit conservative with Bailey Zappe. They need to be more aggressive. I mean, they handed it off on 3rd and 3 at the end of regulation last week, and obviously the play call that everyone's criticizing. They didn't go for it on 4th and 5 and gave the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. And when you give the ball back to a great quarterback in 2022, you lose.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. You put it perfectly there. Yeah. I wish they were more aggressive with him because he looked pretty good. I thought there was 2 plays on 2 sacks. He just held the ball a little bit too long there. The one late there with like 5 minutes left in regulation, I thought he held the ball a little bit too long there. And he got killed. And Isaiah Wynn absolutely got him destroyed a couple times. And the funny thing was Isaiah Wynn, I guess, was the one telling him, hey, keep your cool and all that. Because Wynn's been awful. And Market Cannon came in for him late in that game. But yeah, I thought Zappe played well. I hope they're more aggressive with him. Kendrick Bourne, too, I hope is on the field because good things happen. Actually, I found out why he's not on the field. It's a very kidding thing.
Why?
Because he was 5 minutes late to a meeting preseason week 3 against the Panthers.
Oh my God! Come on! It's preseason. Come on.
Patricia's gonna lay the law down, I guess. But I guess that means.
Oh, Patricia made that decision, not Bill.
I think it sounds like it's more Patricia than Bill at this point. But
wow.
Little Jordan Humphrey is getting more action than Bourne, and good things happen when Kendrick Bourne's on the field. So, yeah, hopefully for Zappy, you get a guy like Kendrick Bourne involved again this week, and hopefully he's on the field for more than like 40% of your offensive snaps.
Exactly. Yeah, you have him, Parker, and Myers. Is Myers going to play, or is he still questionable?
I see he's still questionable. He's our emergency QB if he can go.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he's still questionable.
Yeah, so have him you get Bourne and Parker on the field. Good things will happen, especially against this Lions defense.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw Geno Smith tear those guys up, and he looked like that game they played Baylor a decade ago where they won 70-63, and he threw for 450 yards or whatever it was.
Exactly. So we're going to run through the slate. We got the Thursday night game, tomorrow night's game between the Colts and the Broncos, and these are two teams that are coming to this game banged up. Jonathan Taylor might not play for the Colts. We obviously know Javonte Williams is out for the season for the Broncos. I think this is an ugly, sloppy game. But, again, I'll take the team with the better quarterback. And I got the Broncos winning on Thursday night, going to 3-2. I got them winning 20-13. But, Justin, can Matt Ryan lead the Colts to another win against an AFC West team?
I don't see it happen. I got the Broncos as well, 20-14. Without Jonathan Taylor, I don't think they have much of a chance at all. And they really haven't gotten that running game going. The only game was against Houston in week 1. They really have not been able to run the football. And I don't think, and against a very good Denver front line, or, it's a pretty good defense overall, you're going to have a tough time scoring against that offense. And I think this week you take out one of the best running backs in the game. Hines is decent, but again, it's losing Taylor is such a big loss. I think there's going to be a couple turnovers. I think, Russell Wilson, that Broncos offense does enough. I think it's to be ugly. I think Indianapolis going to have a rough time getting anything going against its Denver defense this week.
We got Kenny Pickett making his first start up in Buffalo. Not the team you want your quarterback making his first start against. As the Steelers travel to Buffalo to play the Bills, I think this is a game. It's a blowout. I think that Josh Allen throws 3 or 4 touchdown passes. I think Kenny Pickett throws multiple interceptions. I think he struggles in his first start. And I think the Bills win this game. I got them winning at 31-10. And the big question is did Tomlin do the right thing pulling Trubisky at halftime? Because Pickett did give them some juice, but ultimately threw that terrible interception, and then ultimately the Steelers lost that game. So you could debate if that was the right decision or not. But the one thing which is pretty obvious now is the Kenny Pickett era has begun in Pittsburgh. They're not going back to Mitch Trubisky. But this Sunday, it's not going to be pretty for the Steelers, as I got the Bills being the Steelers 31-10. But Justin, can Kenny Pickett somehow pull off an upset win in his first NFL start?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Bills at home, they win this thing 28-13. I think, that's such a tough environment to put a rookie quarterback in for his first start. I need to be difficult. Again, they're going to have to somehow shorten that game. They're going to need their defense to probably score a touchdown or two. The Steelers are going to have to win this game in the low 20s, high teens. Like, that's the only chance they have to win this football game. I just think it's too tall of a task right now with that offense. I don't think they'll be able to keep up. And, without TJ Watt and that defense, they've struggled a little bit as well. I just can't. I just think this is too big of a test for Kenny Pickett. I just think it's a very tough for him to go out there and have much success against his Buffalo defense.
Oh, absolutely. And we got a comment from Hector. So he'll like that 14-point spread. Steelers won't keep it close. I know that it's weird. It's weird to have the Steelers be a 14-point underdog. I don't think in my life I've ever seen the Steelers be a 2-touchdown underdog. But I think this is one of the worst Steeler teams since 2003. I think the Steeler team is not good, especially without TJ Watt, especially with a rookie quarterback. I think Mike Tomlin's in for his first losing season as Steelers head coach. So, I do like that 14-point spread. A team with a rookie quarterback without their best player going on the road against arguably the best team in football. I definitely like that 14-point spread. I don't think the Steelers keep it close.
Yeah, for me, 14 is a lot in the NFL to have a spread that big. But I don't know how the Steelers keep it. They're going to have to really shorten that game. And I just don't think going to Buffalo, like I could see that thing like a Monday night game where they just go off and it's like 14-0, like 5 minutes in the game. I just don't know how the Steelers can go down the field, consistently with that offense. So usually with the Steelers, you gave me 14 points, I'd probably take them. But yeah, I don't see them keeping up with this Bills offense. I just can't. I think they're gonna have a rough day. I know I have that 15 point spread, but right now, I just seem to be too difficult of a task to the Steelers.
We got an AFC South matchup in Tampa. A battle for food. I thought this a battle for first place as the 2-2 Bucks. 2-2 Bucks face the 2-2 Falcons. But without Cordell Patterson, I don't think this is going to be a game. I think the Bucks shut down the Falcons' running game. I think they forced Mariota to turn the ball over 2 or 3 times, and I think Brady throws 2 or 3 touchdown passes. You saw last week, even though the Bucks got beat, you saw Brady start to look better. You saw the Bucks offense start to look better. I think it continues this week. That's why I got the Bucks winning 30-13 over the Falcons. But Justin, can the Falcons pull off a major upset and get into first place in the NFC South?
I think they're gonna keep this thing close. They got the Bucks win this thing 24-20. I think the Falcons have ran the ball really well. I know Patterson's gonna be out, but I like Tyler Lager coming out of BYU because I think he's good catching the ball out of the backfield. He's a good solid runner. I think they could have a little bit of success. Again, Mariota, if he doesn't turn the football over, I think they have a chance to win this football game. I just, can I trust Mariota? Not really, but I think this Falcons offense with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, I think they could make some plays against this Buck defense. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to be enough to keep up with the Buccaneers in that offense as they're starting to get healthy. It's a tough task. I think, Falcons are still, they're only undefeated team left against the spread. It's 8 points. I think, they could keep it within that. But I just think it's too tall of a task for Marcus Mariota to beat Tom Brady right now.
We got an NFC North matchup in Minnesota as the Bears travel to Minnesota to face the Vikings. And I do think the Vikings are going to have a little bit of fatigue. I would pick the Vikings. If they weren't coming back from London, I would pick the Vikings to win this game probably by 2 scores. But I do think they're going to have some fatigue coming back from London, especially. And I think on defense, I think the Bears are going to be able to have some success running the ball. The Vikings have had trouble stopping the run. They did against the Saints last week. So I think the Bears will have success running the football. And I think the Bears do keep this game competitive. But I think this game is either going to come down to the ball being in Justin Fields' hands at the end and him having to have to drive the team down the field, or the ball being in Kirk Cousins' hands and the Bears defense having to make a stop. And I don't see the Bears making a stop at the end or Justin Fields leading a game-winning drive. And that's why I got the Vikings beating the Bears 27-23. But Justin, can Fields lead the Bears to an upset win and get them to 3-2?
I don't see it. I get the Vikings 28-17. Justin Fields has 38 completions this year, or he's got 34 completions. Cooper Kupp has 42 catches. He's only completing 50% of his passes. He's only attempting about 16 passes per game. I think, this thing could be close at halftime, but I don't think, they're going to keep it close in the second half. I think the Vikings, I just don't know how the Bears are really going to score because I think the Vikings are smart. You slow down their own game. You make Justin Fields throw the ball because they don't really trust him. He made a couple of good throws last week, but then he also backs it up by making a couple of poor throws.
Exactly. He did make some good throws against the Giants. Converted on some 3rd and longs against the Giants. But yeah, it's like it's up and down with Justin Fields. Yes, the offensive line is terrible. The weapons are not good, but he hasn't played well either.
No, he hasn't. I know, there's not a ton to help him out with, but he's got to play better. Like the decision-making, some parts got to get better. Tier 2, I understand that, but he's still, he's still got to, still got to make the right decision, right reads. And he doesn't do that all the time. And it kind of hurts when, games like that, turnovers are, crucial in some games. And I think, he makes a couple this week. And I don't really trust Justin Fields right now to knock off Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. They're going to make too many plays. And I just think it could be a tough day for the Bears. I'm with you. I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 1-score game. I think it's really close at half. I could maybe see the Bears win at half, but I just don't think for 60 minutes the Vikings, often to be slowed down by the Bears.
We got an AFC East matchup at the Meadowlands as the Dolphins 3-1 Dolphins travel up to the Meadowlands to face the 2-2 Jets. And I think this is a close competitive game, especially with Bridgewater starting. But I think the difference in this game is I don't think Bridgewater makes the mistakes that Zach Wilson's going to make. I think Zach Wilson, I know he played well in the 4th quarter last week, and give him credit for leading the Jets, for leading the Jets to that come from behind win. But I do think Wilson makes some mistakes in this game, just like he did in the first 3 quarters of the game last Sunday. So I do think Wilson makes some mistakes. I think it's a close competitive game, but I am taking the Dolphins 23-17 over the Jets. But Justin, can Zach Wilson lead the Jets to their second straight win?
I do have the Jets win this game, 20-16. I think Zach Wilson plays well enough. I think, he makes enough plays against the secondary that's kind of struggled. You may not have Xavier Howard or Brian Jones. I know they're both questionable right now. I think Michael Carter and Bryson Hall have run the ball well enough in this game against the Dolphins. I think they could pull this one out. I know the Jets beat a bad Steeler team right now, but I thought Wilson played well in the fourth quarter. I think he could play well enough again at home. Right now the Dolphins secondary has really struggled, and I think Wilson could have some success. I think, Elijah Moore for him, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, I think make enough plays against that secondary. I think the Jets defense make enough stops against Teddy Bridgewater, and I think the Jets knock off the Dolphins this week.
Got an AFC matchup in Cleveland as the Chargers travel all the way to Cleveland to face the Browns. And I think this is another close competitive game, but I think it's going to come down to the fact the Chargers can't stop the run. The Chargers, this is the second in a row where they're not good against the run. They have trouble stopping the run. Dameon Pierce ran for over 100 yards last week. I feel like Nick Chubb's going to have another big week on the ground. And I do think that they're going to get pressure on Justin Herbert and force a mistake or two. And I think the Browns are going to win this one really close. I know the Chargers got the better quarterback, but I don't trust Brandon Staley. I think the injuries for the Chargers are going to catch up to them in this game, not having Boza and not having Rashawn Slater. I think that's going to catch up to them in this game. And that's why I got the Browns pulling the upset. I got the Browns beating the Chargers 24-20. But, Justin, can Herbert have another big game and get the Chargers to 3-2?
I think he does. I think Chargers win this one 27-20. That Browns defense, I think they could get a lot of pressure this week on Justin Herbert. I think they could make some, real show. And the Chargers went up big last week. It was 27-10, 27-7 at one point. And they let the Texans get back into it. But I think this week, the Chargers get off to another fast start this week. I just haven't really been that impressed with the Browns yet this year. It's a big game, I feel like, for the Chargers. I know last week was like a must win, but I think, in that AFC West, you want a chance to win that division. You're going to have to beat Cleveland without Deshaun Watson playing. I think Herbert makes enough plays with wide receivers this week. I think they, run the ball okay. They haven't, they got established a run games against Cleveland. They really haven't done that all year. But I think the Chargers go on the road this week, and I think they knock off the Browns.
We got the Titans heading to D.C. to face the Commanders, and I think this is a really close competitive game. I do think the Commanders do limit Derrick Henry's production in this game, but I do think Henry has a decent game. I do think Wentz has a pretty good game too. I think he does a decent job moving the ball. I think this is close, competitive. I think this game's in the low 20s, high teens. I think this is a close, competitive game. But at the end, I'm going to take the home team. I got Washington winning it 20-19 over the Titans. But, Justin, can Derrick Henry carry the Titans to their third straight win?
I think they do. At Titans 21-17 this week. I think, Commanders are middle of the pack of stopping the run. I thought last week the way that Derrick Henry was able to run the ball, I thought off play action, Ryan Tannehill played really well. I think he does again this week. I think Henry does run the ball well enough. I think Tannehill doesn't make the mistakes. I think Carson Wentz, makes that mistake or two this week that will cost Washington the game. And I think the Titans do enough. I think Henry has enough yardage this week. I don't really trust Washington right now. They haven't protected the quarterback that well. I take Ryan Tannehill to make the less mistakes in this game. Again, he'll probably throw for 230 yards, something like that, but it'll be enough to get by Washington. And I think the Titans move to 3-3.
AFC South matchup in Jacksonville as the Texans travel to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. And I think this game stays close early because it's a division game, but I think in the second half the Jaguars pull away with their running game and they force some turnovers on defense from Davis Mills. And that's why I got Jacksonville going to 3-2 in beating the Texans, beating the Texans 24-13. But Justin, can the Texans beat the Jags for the third consecutive time?
I don't think so. I think they finally snapped that. I got the Jaguars win this game 24-17. I think, Trevor Lawrence plays better this week. For Texans, I think they're going to struggle running the ball this week. Jacksonville's pretty good at stopping the run. They're top 10 right now. I think Pierce's going to have a rough one. Davis Mills, I think, can make a couple plays in this game to keep this thing closed for a bit here. But I just don't think the Texas defense is going to make enough stops this week. I think Texans maybe turn the ball over once there, and Jacksonville takes advantage of it. I just think Houston's going to have a tough time really moving the ball this week because Jacksonville's defense has played pretty well this year, and I think Jacksonville moves on and they go to 3-2.
We got an NFC matchup in New Orleans as the Seahawks take on the Saints. And the interesting thing is Jameis Winston going to play this week? Because Andy Dalton wasn't terrible last week. They did get the running game going last week, which was key. They did have a couple key turnovers, but they did get the running game going. That was key this week. I do think, just like the Vikings, I think they're going to have some fatigue going to London, but also the Seahawks have to travel all the way to New Orleans, just like they traveled all the way from Seattle to Detroit last week. So I think both teams are going to be fatigued. But I think it's going to be a close competitive game. But I'm going to take the quarterback that's going to make less mistakes, and I'm going to take the football team who I think is going to run the ball better. That's going to be the Saints in a really close competitive game. I got the Saints winning it 23-21. But Justin, can Geno Smith have another big game and get the Seahawks at 3-2?
I don't think so. I got the Saints win this one 23-20. Pete Carroll's won his last 8 games on the East Coast for 1:00 kicks, but I think they've dropped this one. I think the Saints avoid losing 4 straight here. I think that Geno Smith makes some plays this week. I think they do a little bit against that defense. Maybe, especially on the run game. Saints have been pretty good against the pass, but I think in the run game, Penny and Kenneth Walker can have a little bit of success there on the ground. But I think in the passing game, if they can get the ball to Lockett and Metcalf, get some chunk plays, I really going to help the Seahawks in this one. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Saints are too tall of a roster to go to 1-4. I think they find a way to win this game close.
We got an NFC matchup in Arizona as the 4-0 Eagles face the Cardinals. And I think this is going to be another really, really close competitive game. But I think it's going to come down to 2 things. I think it's going to come down to 2 things in this game. I think the Eagles are going to run the ball better than the Cardinals will. And I think the Eagles are going to get more pressure on the quarterback and force Kyler Murray to make mistakes. And I think this is a close competitive game of 2 former Oklahoma quarterbacks. But I got the Eagles going to 5-0, winning it 26-20. But Justin, can Kyler Murray make enough outduel Jalen Hurts and get the Cardinals at 3-2?
I don't think so. I got the Eagles win this one 27-20 on the road. Arizona played well in the fourth quarter last week, got 16 of the points against the Panthers, who are pretty much done at this point. But I just think this is the Eagles defense, as you mentioned. I just think Murray's not going to have enough time. I think he's going to throw a couple picks in this game. I think they could get a strip sack in this game. Maybe defense gets a defensive touchdown in this game as well. I think just too tough a task the way the Eagles are playing right now. Cardinals played well in the fourth quarter last week. They played well in the second half against the Raiders in week 2. I just haven't seen the Cardinals put it together for a full 60 minutes yet. I know the Eagles have been a really good first half team. They got out, they went down 14-0 last week. They came back and they scored 20 points in a row, something like that. And
29 points in a row. 30 points in a row.
Yeah, so almost 30 in a row there. I just think it'd be too tall of a task for the Cardinals this week. I think the Eagles find a way to remain on the only unbeaten team left in the NFL. I think they moved to 5-0.
We got an NFC matchup in Carolina as the 49ers face the Panthers, and I don't think this game is going to be close. I think the Niners are going to get pressure on Baker Mayfield, sack him, I think 5 or 6 times. I think they'll have success in the run game with Jeff Wilson. I think Garoppolo will throw a couple touchdown passes. I think the Panthers might score a garbage time touchdown, but I got the 49ers going to 3-2 and beating the Panthers 27-14. But Justin, can the Panthers D carry them to an upset win?
I don't see it. I got the Niners 21-6. I just don't see how their defense is going to have to score a couple touchdowns in this game because I don't see how Baker Mayfield moves the ball. Once again, Baker Mayfield out there in the media trying to, say he's improving pretty wrong and all that.
Oh, yeah. He's pretty much a bust right now, honestly. He's one of the biggest busts. I mean, him and Sam Darnold are the two guys on the same team, probably 2 of the biggest busts that we've seen in the last 20 years.
Yeah, I'd put Jamarcus Russell close up there. But yeah, there's not too many more that have been worse than these 2 have been. I just don't see it. If Matt Rule is very hot. My prediction is if they don't fire him by December, Matt Rule takes a college job before he gets fired. He'll
I
jump
could see
to
it. I definitely could see it.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll last to December, but I don't see this team getting anything going this week. And I think their defense keeps this thing close. They could probably pick off Jimmy G, but I just don't think it's enough. Their offense, they're going to need their defense to score pretty much all their points this week.
We got the Monday night game between the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Chiefs showed us last week how good that team was. They ran the ball. They stopped the run. Two things they really haven't done throughout their era of their 4-year run of dominance. Stop the run and run the ball, and they did that. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was really good again. This Chiefs team, I'd say they're right up. Them and the Bills right now are the two best teams in football. And I think they cruise this week over the Raiders. I think the Raiders, they got to win last week, but the Chiefs are definitely a better team than the Broncos. I do think Derek Carr will make some plays, but I think they'll get behind, and the Raiders will have trouble protecting them, and they'll get away from the run. And Patrick Mahomes threw 3 or 4 touchdown passes, and that's why I got the Chiefs beating the Raiders 34-20. But Justin, can Derek Carr have a huge game and outduel Patrick Mahomes and lead the Raiders to a big upset?
It's going to be very difficult. I got the Chiefs 31-21. The Raiders ran the ball finally last week. Josh Jacobs looked really good. I don't know why McDaniel, because he loved running the ball last year, and this year he's kind of shied away from it. But they really established a run last week, and I thought that was huge for Derek Carr, the play action game and all that. But yeah, I just think this week they fall behind a little bit. Carr struggled in Kansas City throughout his career. I think he could throw another couple interceptions this week against Kansas City. I just think it's too tall of a task right now for the Raiders to go out to Kansas City on a Monday night and try to knock them off. I don't really see it happen this week. I just think if they can keep this thing close and they can run the football well enough, I could see it. Even if they do, the Raiders always find a way to they find ways to lose games just every week. And I think even if they do keep it close, they'll find a way to somehow lose it.
Yeah. So I mean, Kansas City, even if the game is close, Kansas City is definitely going to find a way to win Monday night. But we got a good week 6 of college football. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at Shamrock Home Inspections.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
Well, we got week 6 of the college football season that is upon us, and we'll start in the SEC in Baton Rouge, where Tennessee takes on LSU, and I think this is a really, really close competitive game. I think Hayden Hooker plays well, but I do think Jalen Daniels, I think he has a big game too. I think it's close and competitive, but at the end of the day, I got to take the team with the better quarterback, and that's why I got Tennessee staying undefeated, beating LSU 31-24. But Justin, can Brian Kelly get to 3-0 in the SEC?
Didn't be very difficult at the Vols, 34-24. I think if this is a night game, I'd probably take the Tigers, but this is an 11-8 kick. I know I've heard people in Baton Rouge are not happy about. They do not like afternoon kickoffs on there. I think Tennessee escapes one. I think for the thing, Jalen Daniels really hasn't taken many shots. Brian Kelly's kind of a bit disappointed that. I know he's been a little banged up. He got pulled last week, but they just LSU really kind of showed the move the football in the passing game. Jalen Daniels only completed about 38%, or in total last week, 2 quarterbacks. They only completed about 38% of the passes. They had to come behind against an Auburn team right now that just, again, that coach is, I'm surprised he's not fired yet, but maybe after Georgia beats him by 50, he will this week. But I don't know how LSU is going to keep up with the Tennessee offense. I think that Tennessee offense wears down the defense with that tempo, and Tennessee gets ready for the big showdown next week against Alabama at Rocky Top.
Yeah. Do you think there's any chance that Tennessee could be looking ahead to Alabama in this game?
I definitely think there could be. Because there's been times like a couple years where you kind of think Tennessee is moving in the right direction and they lose it. They kind of stub their toe against somebody. Going to Death Valley, LSU's gone better each week, which, not surprising under Brian Kelly. I could totally see it, especially because Tennessee's wide receiver is Cedric Tillman. It's still day-to-day. That's their top guy, so maybe he won't play. So I could totally see it, but I do think this time around it's different for the Vols. I think they find a way to get out of Death Valley with a win.
Got two surprising teams playing in Lawrence, Kansas, as TCU faces Kansas, both in the top 20. When was the last time Kansas has been in the top 20? And College Game Day is going to be in Lawrence, right?
Yeah.
So funny how the same – he's got the same name as the LSU quarterback, Jalen Daniels, or is Jalen Daniels, or –
Jalen Daniels. So pretty close, yeah.
Pretty close. So I think it's a close competitive game, but I got to go with TCU. I saw what they did to Oklahoma last week, and I can't see them lose. I know Kansas has had a great year so far, but I can't see them losing to Kansas. I got TCU win to 31-20, but Justin, can Kansas continue the dream season?
Yeah, it's to be difficult. I think the last time top 20, I know they were in 09 top 25, but I don't know if they were the top 20. The last time I can remember was 07. This is probably the biggest regular season game for Kansas that they played in Missouri when they were top 3. But I got to pick in my head, not my heart, and I gotta go TCU 35-31. Lance Leipold, what he's done there is really impressive, and I don't know why more ADs don't go the route that he's taken, D3 winning at that level at Wisconsin, Whitewater, and Buffalo. He's won everywhere he's gone. He's been incredible. But I just think TCU with that offense, Max Dugan and Sonny Dykes has done an unbelievable job because that offense has been stuck in the mud the last couple of years. The running backs are, both phenomenal for TCU. And for Kansas, for Jalen Daniels in that offense, they run the triple option, but out of the spread. He's made some really good decisions. They're banged up at running back. They're going to have their starter and then probably their fourth-string guy have to move up to be their backup. But I think the thing for Kansas, too, is they won a tight game last week where they didn't have to score the football. They were averaging close to 50 points the last couple of weeks. But I would say missed 3 field goals last week. They probably should have lost last week. I think TCU finds a way to go in there. And, and it's crazy on a week. Texas and Oklahoma's playing. It's not the biggest game in the Big 12. And I don't know the last time that has happened. But I think it's just too tough of a task again for Kansas. That plays in me rocking. It's going to be really cool to see. I got to go TCU this week. I think Sonny Dykes has done an incredible job. Lance Leipold has done a great job, too, with Kansas. I think TCU is going to be too much for him.
And the funny thing is, I forgot Texas and Oklahoma were playing. For how bad those teams have been. I know Texas gave Alabama a good game. For how bad those teams have been this year, I forgot they were even playing. If I had to pick it, I'll just take Texas in that game.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, I know they haven't been good, but I was surprised you're still like, wow, they're not. But yeah, they've been bad. It's the only Big 12 game with not one top 25 team playing in it this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got Texas too. I think Ewers going to be back. It sounds like Ewers is going to play this week, so I got Texas as well. And I don't think Dylan Gabriel's going to play. I think he's going to be out. It's from what it sounds like.
Who's Gabriel?
He's going to be out, sounds like.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. The two teams have been so bad, you forget about the Red River rivalry.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. That's usually one of the biggest games of the year, and that's always one of the best too. But yeah, this year, it's crazy. Both those two teams better get it going because they're going to the SEC soon, and you better pick it up. But last thing too in the Big 12, when you tell me a couple weeks ago, I think the Big 12 is as the parity of this level is going to be it don't match. Like there's not a great team, but I think that conference championship game is going to be two teams that are 7-2. Like, I think
probably
charts.
I bet yeah, with Baylor, Oklahoma State, Kansas, TCU, even Texas and Oklahoma will still win games in the league. Texas Tech, yeah, a lot of parity.
Yeah, it's crazy. West Virginia's probably the worst team, and they just smacked Virginia Tech a couple of weeks ago by 21 at a night game at Lane Stadium. So yeah, there's not a basement dweller anymore. That Kansas is starting to turn the corner.
Absolutely. So we'll move to the Pac-12. We got a big game between Utah and UCLA. Utah does have one loss. UCLA is undefeated, but I do think Utah is going to hand UCLA a loss this week. I think Cam Rising is going to have a good game. I think Tavion Thomas is going to have a big game on the ground. And I do think they contain Chip Kelly's offense. I do think they contain Charbonnet and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And I got Utah winning this one 28-24. But Justin, can Chip Kelly and Dorian Thompson-Robinson get UCLA to 6-0?
I could see it. UCLA's first 8-game winning streak since 2005. They've scored 40 points in those 8 games, or they've scored 40.7 of those 8 games during this winning streak. But I got Utah 34-31. You told my pick to win the Pac-12. It's been the minute. The big showdown next week in Salt Lake against USC.
Oh, that one's going to be a big one.
Yep. Yeah, Saturday night, I think. Yeah, I think Fox guys Saturday night, I believe.
Oh,
Fox
wow.
or ABC, one of the two.
It's got to be ABC. If Saturday night, it's got to be ABC's. Fox's big game is always at noon. Fox has got Penn State, Michigan, so it's going to be ABC.
Yeah, so you're probably right. It's probably ABC. But yeah, it should be a good one. But yeah, this week, for this game, during time Robinson's played really well. I'm really impressed to see what Chip Kelly's been able to kind of develop him into, because again, freshman year, he could not hold on to football, a lot of turnovers. But I think, this weekend's kind of winning his defense. Utah always gets better every week. I know, again, Anthony Richardson just had a phenomenal game, and that's how they got beat there. And an kind of forced mistake there by Rising at the end of that game with the pick in the end zone. I think, Charbonnet Utah slows them down enough. Jake Bobo would 142 yards last week, the Duke transfer. I think, Utah slows him down enough. I think Rising makes enough plays. I think they do slow down UCLA's offense just enough in this game. I think Utah finds a way to get out of Pasadena, still with one loss intact.
At the Coliseum this Saturday, Washington State heads to USC, and I think USC wins this game big. I got them winning 34-17. I think Caleb Williams is another big game, and I think the Trojans are going to be 6-0 when they face the Utes of Utah.
Yeah, USC, big week for them here. But I had Trojan winning 34-21. USC is plus 14 the turnover mark. The way they beat Oregon State, again, I thought the way the toughness was and all that, their defense got 4 turnovers in that game. Caleb Williams, I thought, played really well in the second half. He made a couple really nice throws, had a couple nice runs. Oregon State could not tackle him. I like this quarterback from Washington State, Cameron Ward, coming over from Incarcerated Word, small FCS school down in Texas. They kind of run the air raid as well still from what Mike Leach is, but it's a little bit different than, just the full out kind of the full kind of air raid. But I think it's be a little bit too much for Washington State to knock off USC this week. Caleb Williams has played well enough. Arizona State had some success on the ground, but Washington State's not going to run the football that much. I think that's going to make a difference. I think USC makes enough plays, and I think they knock off Washington State for the 4th straight time.
All right, we got the game we've been waiting for. A game we've been waiting for all year, not because of the two teams. They're not because of the matchup. It's because of the coaches. We got Jimbo Fisher. It's 8:00. It's a primetime game. The only reason it's a primetime game is what happened in May between the two coaches. I mean, because Texas A&M has no quarterback. We saw last week they were absolutely terrible against Mississippi State, and I think it's going to be more of the same. I think Alabama proved last week why they're the best team in the country with their quarterback down, with Bryce Young out. What's his name? Jalen. What's his name?
Jalen
Milroy. No, Jalen Milroy. But what's the running back's first name?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs really stepped up in that Arkansas game because it was tight. It was like 28-23. And then Gibbs went out. We had Milroy go on that long run, and then Gibbs had those 2 long runs. He had like 2 runs. He had like 3 runs for like 250 yards in that Arkansas game. And I think it's going to be more of the same this week. Is Bryce Young playing, or is it going to be Milroy?
Day to day. Saban's not giving any
exactly. And you heard him after the game too. You heard him snap at Jenny Dell. And Jenny Dell asked the right question. And
he must have not been able to hear
him. The Saban snaps at him.
He must have not been able to hear the question. I don't think he did.
He probably didn't. He probably didn't hear the question. He just assumed that it was going to be about their quarterback situation, and then he snaps.
Yep. That's Saban. Saban cannot stand Saban's temper with the media is not great, but he was mad Monday because I guess he saw an article that that he's gonna keep it secret all week, and he's not gonna keep quiet. He's like, when did I say he's just snapping at the media for whoever wrote it? He was all mad Monday about the article written that he didn't mention anything about. Saban
is just not good with the media. But for this week's game, I think it's gonna be a blowout. I think Alabama's going to score. I don't care who plays quarterback. I think they're going to score over 50 points. I think they're going to run the ball down A&M's throat. And I think that A&M's going to really struggle offensively because they don't have a quarterback. And I got A&M winning this one. I got to win it 52-7. Alabama winning this one over A&M 52-17. But Justin, can Jimbo get his 2nd consecutive win over Saban?
I can't see it. I got Alabama 41-17. I just don't know how A&M scored because Mac Johnson hurt his finger last week. His throwing hand hit a helmet. He's day-to-day. You may have to go back to Haynes King, and you saw that experiment didn't work well. You're out your number one wide receiver, who's your best offensive player. I just don't see how this team scores more than 20 points. I can't see it happening. You're not going to have a Zach Calzada effort like you did last year. And that's, Alabama was so young in the secondary. They've obviously matured. They're a lot better in the secondary this year. I just don't see how they get any offense going this week. I think, they get a little bit, I think they maybe score a garbage touchdown or something like that, but they're not going to have much success against this Alabama team. I just think there's just a ton of stubbornness from Jimbo and that staff right now for their offense. They got to get some easy. They got to find some guys that just get some easy, get it guys open easy. Just find easy ways to kind of get some first downs and just Jimbo's always going to be the play call. He's not giving that roll up. I can't see it. The sad thing is too, in year 3. With just going back last week, Mississippi State year 3 under Mike Leach is in a better spot in year 5 than Jimbo Fisher right now. And Texas A&M is a much better job than Mississippi State.
Exactly. That's crazy. That's crazy. But the big story is going to be the handshake. Do you think the coaches will shake hands after the game?
I think they do. I think they will. I think they both realize at this point. I don't think they want to get I don't think Saban wanted to get that out. That was at a dinner with boosters, and I think it was all just. This is what Texas A&M's doing to get those recruiting classes. Again, Saban never wanted to go this up-tempo offense, but he brought in Lane Kiffin because he knew that's where the sport was going. Saban knows the sport's going where you're going to have to pay the players. Ryan Day said, to build a team, I'm going to need at least $13 million a year. You're going to need money, and I don't think Saban wanted to come that out. I know Jimbo took it I understand why Jimbo was mad, but I don't think he was trying to, call out Jimbo there. I think he's just saying, look, you're going to have to build a team to win nowadays. I think that was all. And I think both coaches will shake hands. I don't think there'll be too much unless the Saban really runs it up on them. I think they'll both shake hands.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting after that game. No matter what the score is, it'll be interesting to see what happens after that game on Saturday night. But we'll wrap up talking about an ACC matchup with Florida State and NC State, both teams that are coming off losses from last week. And I think NC State bounces back this week, and I think they beat Florida State by 10. I think their defense forces Jordan Travis make a couple mistakes, and I think Devin Leary is a big game. But the question is, can Florida State bounce back and get a big upset win over NC State?
I think they do. I'm going 31-27. I just think after
So last week you had NC State beating Clemson. Now you got them losing to Florida State.
Yeah, I thought Devin Leary would take that step forward this year, and he just hasn't. That running game can't get anything going. I think, too, the way they lost an emotional game at Clemson, where that was kind of the game everyone was talking. If NC State could win that game, they could win the ACC and all that. Now you got to come back down to earth. I think Florida State, they lost a tough one as well, but I just think that's an emotional, draining loss on NC State. And I think Jordan Travis plays well. Trayshawn Ward and Trey Benson both are averaging 60 yards a carry. I think Florida State runs the ball a little bit better than NC State does this week. I think their defense makes enough plays. Both teams really struggled on third down as well last week. Whoever could kind of convert the more third downs wins this game. But I'll take Florida State before they got a showdown next week with Clemson, or they have a bye. Coming up, they got Clemson coming up, I know. But, yeah, it is next week. They'll go out, they'll have the Tigers. But I think Florida State, Mike Norvell, I think they figure it out this week. I think take down the Wolfpack.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game in Raleigh this weekend. But that's going to wrap it up on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the division series in Major League Baseball, Week 6 in the NFL, and Week 7 of the college football season. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
It's 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. You're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meek, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.